To win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the highest excellence. The highest excellence is to subdue the enemy's army without fighting at all. Fast as the wind and silent as forest, ferocious as fire and unmovable as mountain. I can see victory as clearly as the sun or moon, and will grasp it as certainly as water douses fire. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. I said know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. If only you could see the way I grew up, waking up in my own room, smelling what mom's cooking up. I need a big breakfast before I suit up. The final game of the season, we bringing home the cup. The soccer field grass has been freshly cut. A dog's on the sideline, I love that mutt. Ground beef and rice, what he eats up. I could have been born with more luck. My street could have been paved with solid gold. The perfect life of an American 9-year-old. All the nourishment to ensure that I would grow. Fresh vegetables, potatoes, steak with day one bold. The best education, my future's untold. But it was certain I'd never be left in the cold. My father's company about to IPO. I may never have to work, just share homes. Fast as the wind and silent as forest, ferocious as fire and unmovable as mountain. I can see victory as clearly as the sun or moon, and will grasp it as clearly as water douses fire. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. I said know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. I can't imagine how you grew up. No books, no food, never enough. Every evening things blowing up. The first infantada had your father caught up. An occasional glimpse of a movie screen. You see my backyard, me living the dream. Stealing your brother's money, you can see me again. Imagine in your head what it would be like to be friends. Depressed cause when the movie ends, it's back to real life where food comes from a can. Local leaders saying read the Quran. As soon as you're finished, she says read it again. After the last bomb, you had to live in a tent. Before your grandparents finally let you move in. Your father blames the Jews, you don't understand. You just want the toys you see on the other side of the fence. Fast as the wind and silent as forest, ferocious as fire and unmovable as mountain. I can see victory as clearly as the sun or moon, and will grasp it as certainly as water douses fire. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. I still remember my mom waking me up. We're under attack, the Twin Towers have been struck. Hungover but sober enough to know we were financially fucked. We had sold our house and invested money in the airlines they took. The towers collapsed, forming a paper shredder. The books were cooked, there was no longer any record. Only leaving the house to buy the new Jay-Z record. Wondering if Cheney wasn't in the control room like a movie director. Images of Bin Laden, president saying it's the enemy. Look, white trash heading out to the liquor store to loot. Cashier explaining he's Indian, but the attack of the white man shook. It's like a modern day Tower of Babel if you read the good book. In a suburban neighborhood, low-flying F-14s. The attacks came so unexpected and without warning. Twin Towers and the Pentagon attacked on Tuesday morning. Wednesday, September 12th, the entire nation was in mourning. But on September 13th, we were poised for war. I'd been headed to college, but maybe not anymore. A sleeping tiger had been awake and no telling what's in store. The Taliban would be the first to hear her roar. Fast as the wind and silent as forest, ferocious as fire and unmovable as mountain. I can see victory as clear as the sun or moon, and will grasp it as certainly as water douses fire. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. The past weekend at the mosque, you had heard rumors of attack. Honestly, you didn't know how you felt about that. On one hand, you loved America, wish you could be the one swinging the baseball bat. But at the same time, you had a sense of pride seeing those towers go flat. Cause there ceased to be a difference between the Star of David and American flag. You're 18, so you might as well take up the fight that was your dad's. Because despite 12 hours of work, you still have nothing but rags. Mad, bitter, because you didn't have the things you saw I had. When you were young, you were given toy guns from Hamas. So when they offered you a job, of course you were off. A freedom fighter volunteered to be strapped with the bomb. Not sure of the right thing to do, you decided the first time you'd see an American you'd shoot. Feeling the cards you were dealt were too uncouth. A Palestinian in the Afghan mountains finally letting loose. Fast Fast as a wind and silent as forest, ferocious as fire and unmovable as mountain. I can see victory as clearly as the sun or moon, and will grasp it as certainly as water douses fire. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. Walk a mile in my shoes, realize you worship the wrong God. Money is power, that's the international law. The Quran was written by man, so there's a layer of fog, and your interpretation of law is just defined jihad. I never wanted to be here, I'd rather be hitting the books, but I lost my job, was broke, so this was the path I took. Joined the Marines cause I had to do what I could, praying to God I didn't get sent home in wood. It seemed a little democracy was what the Middle East needs. I thought it was the means of doing good deeds, but I'm losing hope after what I've seen, because it's the same old story. Children fighting over creeds, written by our fathers, carried out in our nation's name. The cycle of violence is the deadliest of gains. A new millennium, but the struggle's the same. Praying for red mist as I practice my aim at the rage. But since it's you and me, it has to be you. But be warned, because when I see you, I won't hesitate to shoot. It pains me to be the hand showing you the truth, but there's nothing but blackness after these bullets rip through. Fast as the wind and silent as forest, ferocious as fire and unmovable as mountain. I can see victory as clearly as the sun or moon, and will grasp it as certainly as water douses fire. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 1,000 battles without disaster. In the art of war, Sun Tzu declares, a distaste for war is the most basic principle of the true king. You must go to war only when there is no alternative. The art of war, Sun Tzu, Master Sun.